for today. It's listed under Chapter 1, but we're just going to do an overview of Chapter 1 today. I do want to spend some time going over the syllabus and all the course requirements and all of that stuff. So I want to have plenty of time for doing that. But Wednesday, when you come in, and it may change a little bit before Wednesday because I make some tweaks to it. But you have access to the agenda, and you can go back and see, okay, what did we do on this particular day? And this is listed under modules. This one is under Module 1 in-class activities. Okay, so this is where you would find these agendas. And you can see sometimes we'll do different activities. I've got a group activity to work on today, and then a short video that we're going to watch as well. And so you have access to all of that stuff to see, what it is that we did. So today what I want to do is, again, go through the course materials, look at the syllabus, what our schedule is, the textbook that we're going to be using, what the layout is for all of the chapters, and then what the expectations are for classroom success. First thing I want to ask actually is there anybody here who has taken, I know a lot of you, there are a couple sophomores in here, but I think most of you are freshmen. Anybody who has taken an accounting class before? So a couple, okay, maybe 3 of you, okay, hands are down here. So if you've taken an accounting class before, any accounting class, doesn't have to be payroll or tax or anything like that, financial accounting, anything like that. Okay, so we do in this class, and that's fine, this course is designed not to have any prerequisites to it, but you will get a little bit of an introduction at the end, mainly toward the end of the class, into some financial accounting concepts as well. Those of you who haven't taken accounting, are you taking it now? Like taking it concurrently at the same time as this class? Yeah? Okay, that's good. In those introductory accounting classes, like is it 131 principles, or, okay, that class, I believe, goes through briefly a payroll chapter. So you'll be able to kind of double up, and maybe you'll know a little bit more than some of your cohorts in that class at that point about payroll. And then also, once we get to the end of this semester, you'll be able to use a lot of that knowledge that you've gained in financial accounting for that last chapter as well. So just kind of a little heads up there. But that's it's a good mix. Most of you have either had accounting before or are currently taking an accounting class. So that is good. Oh. Hi, what's your name? All right. So let's take a look. So who has used Canvas before? Almost everybody? A couple of you know? Okay, so for those who haven't used Canvas before, that will be kind of an additional, you'll get used to it really quick. It's not too difficult to tool around in. And I mean, we just moved from Blackboard to Canvas was it 2 years ago? I think it was the beginning of not 2024, but 2023 school year. And so all of your professors as well are relatively new still with Canvas. So maybe some of you have actually more experience with it, but it's pretty intuitive. The whole menu is over here to the left. You're going to be spending most of your time in this modules section. Because from here, you're going to be able to access your assignments. And you'll see how I have this set up. The very first thing I have up here is this schedule at a glance. So you can download this if you want. You can print it off or whatever you want to do with it, or completely ignore it. But I advise you not to completely ignore it because it tells you where we are at any particular day and where we're going as well. So you can see I've got every day. I don't know if this is a touch screen. Oh, some of these are and some of these aren't. So you can see I've got listed here what we're discussing generally, what chapter we're discussing on a particular day. And then if you've got assignments due, I've got that listed on those days. Now, your first set of assignments are going to be due on Monday. These are introductory assignments. These are assignments to get you familiar with the learning management system, which we use for this class, which is Cengage. You may be using that in other classes or have used it in other classes. That is the system that the publisher gives us to use. So all of your assignments and everything will go through that system, but you can access it through Canvas or you can access it directly as well. But your first set of assignments, your introductory assignments, are due on Monday. They're always going to be due at 11:55 p.m., so right before midnight. Now, the good thing about that is you've got all day to do it. The bad thing is if you wait until the last minute, I like to get up early, and so I go to bed early. So if you email me at like 10 o'clock at night, you're probably not going to get, with a question, you're probably not going to get an answer. So just kind of keep that in mind. You'll still want to kind of plan ahead with all of your assignments. In this first set of assignments, we're just going to do some review work. It'll take you through some basics of accounting and help you review some of those math concepts that maybe it's been a while since you've taken a math class. Maybe it hasn't been a while, but we do a lot of math in accounting, and particularly in this class. So that's what these first introductory activities are. You can sign up for access for a week for no charge. So if you don't have your access code yet, and I can talk to you about that if you want me to do that. If you don't have your access code yet, you can click within the system, within Canvas, this link here, and it will allow you to sign up and have access for, I think it's 7 days. It might be 10, but I think it's 7. So that you don't fall behind while you're getting your materials. Because I know sometimes financial aid may be a little bit delayed. And if you haven't got your materials yet, you still can work on the assignments. This is what Cengage looks like. I don't know if this is what it looks like for you guys. This is what it looks like for me. But I don't, so I'll go through this in a minute and what that all looks like. I just want to go back to the schedule here. So every day, so that's your first set of assignments. Monday night, right before midnight, these are due. And I always list what the points are for each of these. So we're going to spend probably more like 3 days talking about chapter 1. And then we get into chapter 2. Your chapter 1 assignments are due on Thursday night. Your chapter assignments, with the exception of that first introductory assignment, everything else is due Thursday night. Okay, so, which is kind of nice. Means that you got the weekend. You're not going to have a bunch of assignments due on right after the weekend. But all of that is listed there. I try to highlight when those assignments are due. So everything there day by day is listed. I'm not going to go through each of it other than to point out. So midterm exam, we do have a midterm exam, which will be in class. That's going to be Wednesday, March 5th. We have spring break. I've got that listed on there. I've also got on here the days to drop, and this would be for any of the classes that you're taking that match up, where the timing matches up with this class. So it's not just this class, but any 15-week class this semester. These are your deadlines, just FYI. So Monday the 27th, last day for a refund. So if you get through chapter 1 and it's just not clicking, you just don't think it's going to work, you can still get a refund for the class by dropping by then. I'm not trying to encourage that, but just kind of an FYI. And then your final day for a refund, or to drop for no refund, you don't get any money back, is April 1st. Okay. So I just want to wanted to point out this document, that this is here for you to access. It shouldn't change unless I've made a mistake somewhere. And in which case, if you see something that doesn't look quite right, tell me, because it takes a lot of detail work to put these classes together, where you have to make sure every little thing is right, and it doesn't always happen. So please let me know. Don't be shy about letting me know if something's not correct. So, because like, for example, I can see already I've got 11:59 p.m. on there. Should say 11:55. So anyway, so there is the schedule. And like I said, go through that on your own and take a look. PowerPoint slides, we're going to be using the PowerPoint slides that the publisher provides in each class period. They're all listed there, or they're all linked there, so you can follow along. If you've got, I see many of you have a computer with you, that's fine. If you want to pull them up while we're going through, you can do that, or you print them out, whatever you want to do, they are there for you. Whiteboard images. So as I've taught this class through the years, there have been a lot of times when I'll put something together particular that I like that's been on the whiteboard that seems to explain something particularly well. And I've taken pictures of them. That's what these are, these whiteboard images, so they can kind of help you. Some of them are like flow charts, others are just kind of graphical representations of things that I have explained through the years. So those are there for you. That's what the whiteboard images are. Tutoring. I don't know if you're aware, we do have tutoring in the Academic Achievement Center. I don't know if we have an accounting tutor in Urban right now. There isn't one. Accounting tutors are hard to find. Accounting professors are hard to find. So Ankeny does have tutoring, but this link, we also have online tutoring. We pay a service called BrainFuse to provide like virtual tutoring. So you can use that as well. They're not DMAC employees. I don't even know physically where they are, probably someplace else. But you can access that and use their expertise. But here's all the difference. So if it's more convenient to go up to Ankeny, so you can see so this is this semester. That's great. A lot of times they don't have that up by the start of the semester. So at Ankeny, there is a lot more availability. They also have email tutoring. So if you just have a quick question, you can, and this is for any of your accounting classes, you can email, I think, they do not have the email address up there. All right, well, maybe they're not doing it this semester. They've always had kind of email tutoring, but these are all the in-person times for that tutoring. Unfortunately, if you're a late at night person, looks like there's not going to be much availability for you, at least for in-person tutoring, unless maybe there's some of the other campuses. BrainFuse, where is it's on campus? Let's see. I thought that had a, there we go. So online tutoring service that you can also use. And I would imagine that their hours, I don't know specifically what their hours are. I imagine they're probably pretty open. So that's another option. Of course, you've always got the option as well to ask me, or to ask, I've put you all into study groups. So, and I'll go through those as well to show you who you're in a study group with. So if you want to work together on things or kind of bounce ideas off of each other, you have that opportunity as well. Okay. Or if you don't, I mean, somebody outside of your study group too. This is a small class, so you don't have to stay within your study group. But since probably most of you don't know other people in the class, this is a way for you to get to know some other people too. And that brings me to the study groups. So, and this, if you look at this from your end, it's going to look different because I'm in here as a professor. But this will show you who's in what study group. Okay, so Milana, Jason, Sarah, and Dot are in study group 1 together, and you'll if you go in, it'll show you just your study group. It won't show you every study group. Ryan, Ashley, R, and Gabby. Is Gabby in here? No, sorry. I couldn't remember saying Gabby when I did attendance. So each of these, so these are your study groups. You can access those. I encourage you to get to know each other. And in fact, I think on Wednesday, I've got a activity in class where you're going to get together with your study group. So that'll give you an opportunity to kind of start to get to know each other. Okay, so Cengage. I kind of gave you a little bit of a preview there. The syllabus, actually. Before I do Cengage, I'm going to look at this. We're going to look at the syllabus. It's warm in here. Does it make you want to doze off? I'll mention that it's a little toasty in here. So you've probably seen the syllabi before for other classes. So we start out, just these are all the competencies that we're going to go through. So these are all the things that we're going to learn about in the class. I'm not going to go through these in detail. We'll be going through them in detail during the class. It's a lot of competencies. And then our essential learning outcomes for the department as well listed there. A little bit about the class, what the expectations are. So attend class regularly, read the class postings, the announcements. Make sure that you have clicked in the notifications on your Canvas to receive announcements. Because otherwise you won't get like an email or a push notification that there's an announcement. The only way you'll see one is when you go into Canvas. And I can show you how to do that if you want me to do that. But make sure you do that because that'll clue you in. Stay on schedule. It's really easy to get behind, obviously, in all of these classes. Accounting in particular is one of those subjects. And this class specifically where we build on what you learn in chapter 3 builds on what we learned in chapters 1 and 2. And then chapter 4, you have to know the previous material before really you can move on to the next material. So in order to be successful, you really have to stay on schedule with all of that. So if you're struggling, there is the Academic Achievement Center and different tutoring office hours. So my office hours are immediate on Mondays and Wednesdays, immediately before this class, and then also immediately after this class. So if you don't have anything else, either before or after, and you have some questions, and my office is just down the hall there. It's room 230. So it's super close. And please go ahead and access those office hours. If you feel like you're getting behind, let me know as soon as you can, okay? So that we can work on getting you caught up. What else do I want to say here? So there's my office hours listed. So Mondays, 11:45 to 12:45, and then immediately after for 45 minutes to 2:15 to 3. And then on Wednesdays, I come in a bit earlier, 10:15 a.m. to 12:45, and then again right after class for 45 minutes. You can also meet with me virtually, like if you're not on campus but you want to meet. I keep my there's a link in Canvas where you can click on it and get to my virtual office hours. So if it just so happens, or if you're sick, you're not going to be in class, but you need to talk to me about something, you can access me virtually as well, or in person. I also give you the opportunity to make an appointment if you want. Now, office hours are drop-in, but sometimes, and it has been known, that I will have 5 students in office hours and they'll all show up at once. And so whoever, it's a first come, first serve. So, but if you want a specific time, you can make an appointment. And then if somebody else is in there, I will push them aside and say, hey, I've got another appointment at this time. So, and I'll show you how to get to those, get to that as well. It's on my Calendly, that's hard to say, Calendly app. So a little bit about me. I didn't really introduce myself. I'm sorry. So my name is Kelly Westfall Murphy, Kelly Murphy, because otherwise it's a mouthful. You can call me Kelly. You don't have to call me Professor Murphy or anything like that. I am a CPA. So I've been a CPA since 2004. Gosh, over 20 years now. I used to be a certified fraud examiner as well. I'm no longer, just because I didn't want to continue to pay for that certification every year when I really wasn't using it. But I was contracted with the federal government to perform forensic accounting, forensic fraud investigations, kind of cool work. I did that a bit as a side hustle while I was also working at an accounting firm. I lived in Tucson, Arizona at the time. I got my master's in accounting from University of Arizona. And my undergraduate degree was not in accounting. It had nothing to do with math or business. My undergraduate degree was in Latin American studies. So, I was young and I wanted to get paid to travel. I did, actually. My first job out of school, I taught English. It wasn't in Latin America, it was in Japan. But I did go overseas and teach English in Japan as my first real job out of college. But then, I don't know, you start to have kids and you get practical. And so I decided to go back to school and get an accounting degree. Was living in Arizona at the time that I did that. And worked for a small CPA firm. We mostly did bookkeeping and tax, income tax. We did payroll for small companies as well. I loved it. It was very small. It was 2 of us in the office, but it was great. And I've always worked for smaller firms. I worked for a small-ish CPA firm up in Clear Lake, Iowa, for several years. I think there were 10 of us in the office. Worked for a small CPA firm in Ames for about 5 years before coming to DMAC. Always about mostly tax work, again, payroll, helping small businesses to get set up, getting all of their paperwork filed and all of that stuff. And then again, like I said, tax preparation, and then decided that it was time for a change. And so I've been teaching here at DMAC. This is I started in 2018, fall of 2018. So kind of taught for 1 full year before COVID hit. And then we're just starting to get back to normal, really, here with COVID. But I did my undergraduate at Central College in Pella. I grew up in Des Moines, went to Roosevelt, born and bred here. I live in Ames now with my family. We've got 4 kids. I don't know, maybe this is more information than you care about, but so I have a daughter who's going to be 30 this year. We've got a son who's going to be graduating from college, from Central College. this year, who's a soccer player. And then we've got 2 younger ones who are in 8th grade and 10th grade. They're also big soccer players. So 2 golden retrievers. I have a very full, busy house. Yes, I have 2 golden retrievers, and they're absolutely awesome. And so if you see me covered, I tried to wear something today that wouldn't show all the fur. And they're 2 different colors too. So I've got all different colored fur all over the place. So that's a little bit about me and how I got here. Urban campus is my main campus. So this is my home campus. I do teach at Ankeny in the fall. I teach this class, and then I teach income tax accounting in person as well in the fall. I'm the only, well, I guess we have an adjunct that teaches online payroll accounting, but I'm the only faculty member that teaches in person this class. I'm the only faculty member who teaches income tax accounting. So if you're all mostly special in the specialist program, I will see you again in income tax accounting. I also teach payroll certification review, which is kind of a mini version of this class, a little bit. What else do I teach? I teach the volunteer income tax assistance class. So if you're one of those people that really likes income tax, there's an opportunity to actually prepare tax returns and get college credit for it. In fact, so in the spring semester, I teach that class. And then accounting professionalism as well. And I think I'm the only one that teaches that one online. So if you take that online, you'll have me again. So that's what I mainly focus on. Okay, back to the class. So attendance is part of the grade. You do get points for attendance. I do accept late assignments to a point. We have mainly six chapters that we're covering. Chapter 7 is a final project, so I don't really think of that as a chapter that we're covering. But as far as the content goes, we have 6 chapters. Chapters 1, 2, 3 is the midterm. All of the homework for those chapters, there are deadlines for each of them, but then if they're late, you have until the midterm to finish any late assignments for those chapters, but there is a reduction in points. So homework assignments, there's a 25% reduction if it's late. There is a chapter assessment for every chapter, like a quiz. I mean, it's kind of halfway between a quiz and a test, but it's not like you can use your materials for it. Late assessments are docked 50%. So always good to prioritize those, probably those the assessments, and get those done. If you're gonna choose to be late with one, the assignments will lose you fewer points. So chapters 4, 5, and 6, the final deadline is obviously the end of the class. All right, so if we have a cancellation, if DMAC is closed, you'll get a notification of that. You'll get you're signed up for your little alerts and everything. There is a chance, though, and this has happened, where because I live in Ames, if the weather is different in Ames, and sometimes it is, I may have to cancel if I can't get down here. And I will let you know through announcements that is the case. So another good reason to make sure you got those notifications for announcements. Doesn't happen very often, but it's, the weather, who knows. So far, so good with January. Let's see. Okay, so here is the grading criteria. Homework, total 355 points. Chapter assessments, those are those quiz/tests every chapter. Those are, we've got 6 of those, and they're worth 50 points apiece. We have that midterm exam, which covers chapters 1 through 3, 125 points. You have a final payroll project where and this is through the Cengage platform. It's kind of it's a payroll software that they've made up. And so you have to process, I think it's about 3 payrolls, and do all of the entries for that and the journal entries and all that. It's a good capstone to everything that we've learned in the chapters 1 through 6. So that payroll project, which is due at the end of the semester, is worth 125 points. We do have, it's a final exam. It's kind of a mini exam. That's why it's worth fewer points. But it does cover, it's an overview exam of the whole semester. So we have that at the end. Attendance total is 45 points, so we have a total of 1,000 points. A point is a point is a point. I don't weight any of the assignments, so like the exams aren't weighted more than the homework or anything like that. So just kind of makes it a little bit easier for planning, I think. Makes my life easier too, I can tell you that. So the midterm and the final exam are taken in class. If for some reason you're not going to be able to make it, and you know ahead of time, like something is coming up, I will ask you to take it at a testing center. Okay, but you have to tell me beforehand, right? If you get in a car accident on your way here, then obviously we can work with that. But generally speaking, if you miss the exam, you miss the exam. So make sure you communicate with me about all that. So if it's an emergency, this is not an online class. See, here's another mistake here that I made. I'll point out all my mistakes for you. So just, keep in contact with me about that. Already talked about late assignments. Extra credit, there is extra credit in the class. Every chapter has some extra credit that's available to you, and I'll show that to you as well. So AI is a big topic, of course. I don't mind you using artificial intelligence for research purposes or for study purposes, but not for, I want you to generate original work. Now, it's usually not much of an issue in accounting. We're really not doing much writing. But, it can come in handy if you're trying to figure out what's, give me a little history on the Social Security wage base. It's stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of a glorified, I don't know if you've used AI very much. It's kind of a glorified search engine. That can be very helpful. But of course, no plagiarism. I want original work from you, but you can use it to help you in your understanding. Does that make sense? Okay. This is all the DMAX stuff here. I'm going to go through all that. If there's anything else, then there's the whole schedule, which you should have on your calendar. I think everything's on your calendar. You all have a calendar, right? So in Canvas, let's see. So you can show, obviously I've got a lot of classes I'm teaching, so I've got a lot of due dates, but your calendar is similar. You've got all of that up there, just in case you weren't aware. All right. Okay, so there's the syllabus. Let's take a look real quick. Is it 127? Okay. At Cengage. So like I said, when you first start out, you can click on any of these links and it'll take you through the registration process for Cengage. Now you do have to have an access code. Like I said, you get a trial period with it, but it only lasts for about a week to 10 days. So you do have to purchase that access code, which you purchase from the bookstore. I think you can purchase it from Textbook Outlet as well if you happen to be up in Ankeny. I don't know about the pricing, if it's much different. It comes with the ebook. So you have the entire book. It does not come with the paper book. if you want the paper book, which I know some people it's just easier to read, you can purchase it. This is the edition that we're using. It's the 2024 edition. I realize it's 2025, but we're using the 2024 edition. This is the thing about teaching tax. They come out with the new editions late December, and classes start then mid-January. So it's very difficult to adopt. I used to try to do that. But also when this will probably give you may have more access to used books because we're using the 2024 edition. Like the brand new edition, you're not going to find any used books, or even probably books for rental. Or if you've got somebody else that you could borrow the book from last semester that bought the actual hard copy of the book, you can use that. But the access code you do have to purchase. That's separate. But anyway, I don't know if they have them in stock at the bookstore or if it's something that you have to order at the bookstore. That I don't know. They didn't have any? Okay. I think because so few students, this is not a cheap book.
It's like $300.
It is. Brand new, this is like $300. But if you can get it used or rent it, did you get it used or did you buy it? You bought the new one? Okay. So you may be able to sell it back at the end of this if you wanted to. Okay. So anyway, yeah, it's not a cheap book, which is unfortunate that it is so expensive. And that's on top of the access card, I think. So it's, yeah. But you have, when you buy that access code, you have the book. It's just in an electronic form, okay? So to get into, and I guess I should stop. Are there questions? I'm going through a lot here, yeah.
So for the online,
there is a fee. Yeah. Do you know how much, did you buy your access code yet? So you have two choices though. You can have, and the thing about the access code is it gives you access to their entire library. So if you have other classes that are using Cengage, it's access for all of it. You can buy a 4-month or you can buy a 12-month access. You kind of have to have a crystal ball to know which is a better deal, because you don't know if next fall you're going to be taking another class with Cengage that uses Cengage. For accounting, this is the only class that uses Cengage in the accounting program. But there may be classes in other departments that use Cengage. And I could actually pull up, let's see. We can go to the bookstore. Here, yeah, I know I'm not registered. Just show me. All right. Let's see if we can find. Textbooks. I know it says Ankeny, but I think I don't know if this one's still, they didn't have, Urban is a separate, the price is going to be the same. This is the actual textbook. So new, $301.50. 4 months is $164.75. 12 months is $253. You should, if you have financial aid though, you can use financial aid to purchase it. Again, whether you choose 12 months or 4 months makes no difference to me. That's completely up to you whether you think you're going to be using, and that would probably take maybe some research on your part to plan out what you're going to take in the summer and in the fall, and whether that would be worth it for the 12-month as opposed to just the 4-month. So what am I doing here? So did that answer your questions? Okay. Other questions before I move on? Okay. Oh, it already launched. So this is probably not what it looks like from your perspective, but so these are the assignments. This includes like the reading. I have links to the reading, like the chapter reading for you in there. It's not worth any points, but it's just for your convenience if you want to easily access, go to chapter 1. That's all in there. Let's see. We can take a look at what it looks like. So let's look at actually, I think the introductory assignments are down here for some reason.
Will it all be loaded in like that, or is it going to be released?
It's already in there, so I'll show you how you can get to it directly from Canvas. Or you can, once you have a login with Cengage, you can also directly log into Cengage, whichever way you want. I'll preview this as a student. So the introductory assignment. So we've got 16 different questions, but as you can see, like question 1, what they want you to do, click to watch the Intro to Accounting video and then answer the questions. Again, success strategies for introductory accounting. So there's these little videos that you watch and then you answer the questions about the videos. Watch the debits and credits video. So this is where you're going to kind of get, if you don't have that accounting background, you're going to get a little bit of information about how accounting works. So again, I think looks like they've got, okay, so this one's not a video, but it's a math review. So 25 divided by 5. Yeah. Yes, so the whole assignment, all of these is 25 points. So I don't know how the system divvies. I mean, each one is a fraction of a point, but yes.
So the 1 through 16 is the total?
Yes. Yes. Again, more math. So converting from percentages to decimals. And decimals, looks like, rounding as well. There's probably fractions to decimals. We're going to use all this math in the class. So everything here is to get you kind of warmed up for the math that's going to be required. More math using percentages, fractions, again, converting from like decimals to percentages, fractions to decimals, that sort of thing. Positive and negative multiplication and division. And addition and subtraction. Different types of ratios. Let's see. And then there's this show me how up here. So if you're confused about something, there's some little more videos on. So like probably the one that gets the most are the weighted averages and how to do a weighted average. So as you're going through and doing this, and there's no time limit on these assignments. So if it takes you 4 hours, it probably won't take you 4 hours, but I'm just saying you're not going to be docked for time. The assessments, the chapter assessments are timed. So they're 2 hours. Still should be plenty of time for you to complete them. How to navigate. So this gives you a tutorial on getting around in Cengage. Okay. How to take assignments in Cengage. check my work feedback, how to use that feature, how to use the adaptive study plans, which we do use. An adaptive study plan is, it asks you a series of questions, or it'll give you a snippet from the chapter that you read, and then it'll ask you questions on it. And then if you get the questions right, you move on. If you don't get the questions right, it will go back to and have you do other stuff that will help reinforce that area of knowledge. And then some Excel stuff. We really don't, this one, we don't use Excel. There are options to do Excel assignments. I don't use it, but that's just 2 questions. So let's see. So each chapter, like I said, you can go into the assignments directly. So here's chapter 1. I list what the requirements are for chapter 1. If you click on that, we'll just go through this kind of briefly. So I tell you what to do there, and how many points you can get. The extra credit assignments, each chapter has like 2 extra credit assignments. One of them super easy. You watch videos and then you tell me that you watch the videos, essentially. So just things to reinforce your knowledge. Whoops. Then there's I put the chapter readings up. So there's a link immediately to the reading. I'll just show you what it looks like. Gosh, lots of clicks. So this takes you to the ebook and takes you right to the chapter that I'm wanting you to read. So, you can read through, next page, yada, yada, yada.
Does this have a automatic reader? No.
An automatic
where it reads for you?
Let's see. There's another version in here that does. I don't know if it's this one. Let's see. Hold on a second. Because there's another way to get to the ebook as well. Under study tools, when you're in this, you can go to, see, there's 2. I don't know which one it is. E-textbook or ebook. Let's try ebook. That might be the same thing that I just opened. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I think in this version, but you have to go to, yes, right there, read speaker. Okay, yes, you're welcome. So if you want, and a lot of people do that, they'll read it and have it spoken at the same time as well. It kind of uses then 2 different parts of your brain to reinforce the information. So it's a great, or if you're on the treadmill and you just want to listen to it, that sort of thing. Okay. So that's the chapter 1 reading. You would have a link to, I give you an outline, so I've got outlines of the chapters up here as well. That downloads. So the objectives, key terms that you'll want to know, and then the outline as well for all of that. Lecture video. So as like I said, I'm recording. So I post this for you to watch after the fact as well. So I will download it and then upload it to YouTube. You can see, so this was actually, some of these I should probably take off. There are some really old ones there, spring 2023. But there's last semester. it's fun to go through and see how much weight I've gained and lost over the years. Anyway, let's see. So the lecture videos are there. Different articles and links. And these are things that they're not like assigned, but they're just additional information to help with your understanding of the material. So these are just things that I've found that have been helpful, or that maybe are kind of interesting articles or interesting historical things. So like federal income tax, the right to Congress does have the right to assess income tax, and that's in the 16th Amendment, and which was ratified in 1913. So if you want to know about the history of it, I think that's from the National Archives. How did we come about? How did income tax withholding come about? When did we decide to start doing that? So just some information there about different historical stuff, some interesting articles, and I may add stuff to it as we go. This is kind of an interesting tool, Paycheck City. There are calculators here. I don't want to do that. Stop. So you can play around with calculating your income tax withholding. It's just some different calculators there. Gross up calculator, you'll learn about that later in the semester. I've got a practice quiz listed here that actually I might hide that and do that at the end of I think I will hide that. We'll do this one together at the end of the chapter. Where is it? Okay, now you don't have that. And then we go on to the assignments. So like the chapter 1 assignments, chapter 1 assessment, shows you how many points. Extra credit assignments, this is the extra credit videos that I told you all you have to do is watch the videos and say that you watch the videos for 5 extra points. And then this chapter 1, this is an additional homework assignment as well. That's for extra credit, 10 points extra credit. So every chapter has that. And then at the end of each of these modules, we've got the agenda for all of the things that we cover in that chapter.
Quick question.
Yes.
So I'm seeing like things on the left and right side. Like, are those options to like send you notifications of when those are due?
So
like the little dots.
The little dots are just like it's just for
the other side.
Like here.
No, over.
Oh, this is for me for editing.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So it won't show up on ours.
Right.
Okay.
You can, though, if you have a question, let's just go in to an assignment. If you're working, I don't know if I just hid something, I'll have to go back there. If you're in an assignment, and this is the best way, by the way, if you are struggling on a homework assignment and you need some help and you want to ask me a question, the easiest way, and it's really the easiest way for you to do it as well, is, well, maybe this one doesn't. Yeah. Okay. There's a little box down here that says email instructor. And you just put your message in here, what you're struggling with, what it is that you're having a problem with. It's easiest for me, one of the questions that I usually send back to students when they send me a question is, well, how did you do it? So, if you're calculating income tax withholding and you're like, I can't get it right. I can't find the right answer. And you send it to me. I'm going to ask you, how did you do it? Like what was your calculation so that I can see where you're going wrong? So the more information you can give me, the better. But I will get this question and then I will get an automatic link to the problem that you're referring to. So there's no confusion about, well, what chapter are you working on? Well, which question was it that you were working on? Also, each of you has different questions, different homework questions. So if you emailed me and said, hey, I'm having problems with question number 14 in chapter 2. Well, I can go into your chapter 14, but off the top, I don't know what chapter, or I can go into question 14, but off the top, I don't know which question that is, because your question 14 is going to be different from your question 14. So it's going to vary. So this is the best way for you to ask me a question. Okay. And I think it's probably the easiest way for you too, because then you don't have to restate what the question is. You can just tell me what problem you're having and just send it off. Okay. And you can do that for, individual questions, and it knows exactly which question you're referring to. Let's see. What else do I want to say? These things, so if you're having technical support with Cengage, I don't know anything about their technical issues, setup, or you are registered and you paid, but for some reason it's not letting you in or something like that. This is where you want to go. Okay. I don't know what the dashboard's probably just a general, I think it's just a general area that has all of your Cengage stuff. So if you've got if you're in multiple classes, it probably shows you all of that. Oh, here's the ebook as well. There's a direct link just to the ebook, the whole ebook. What's the companion? I just put everything up here because I'm like, what's the companion site?
I think that's where you I just messed around with that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, this is taking me to the faculty site, so it's probably different for you than it is for me. All right. Questions about Cengage. You'll get used to it. You will. It won't take you very long to.
Does he grade it right after?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
If you do really bad,
I have not activated that option. Yeah. But like I said, there's a bunch of, you can check your work in there. So let me go back into one of the assignments here. So not with the assessments. You can't do it with the assessments, but chapter 1's probably not a good. We don't do any math in chapter 1, sorry. Chapter 1 is kind of boring. Let's see. Oh, here. So you can click check my work, and then it'll give you a little bit more of a hint. I don't know if there's a calculation one in chapter 2. There's algorithmic. Some of these questions are multi-part. So you can see like this one, it's called a mastery problem. And it goes through, like this one's about overtime calculation. So there's several parts to it. Where you have to do calculations. But so check my work. Yeah, sometimes it'll just tell you, you're wrong. Okay, but I mean, that can be helpful too, because it'll give you a red X where you're wrong. Okay, and you're not going to get penalized for doing that. Okay, so that's another, I don't know if there's anything. Always remember to submit it as well, because it'll auto-submit. I think it doesn't auto-submit at the deadline. I don't have that. I don't have it set up to auto-submit. So if you are working on it at 8 o'clock at night, the night that it's due, and you forget to submit it, it's going to be hanging out there still, and then the deadline will pass, and then it's going to assess a penalty. Now, chances are I will help you out in that case, but just be aware that you want to submit. Okay. All right. Got a lot of tabs open. Other questions? You just kind of have to play around in it. But I do recommend that you get registered as soon as possible with it. Get started with it. Okay. Well, I mean, you have to. You've got assignments due on Monday, so you should probably work on those as soon as you can. Let's see. There's information here about Cengage setup information as well. I'm not going to go through that. This just shows you the textbook, the syllabus that links. I think it links to the syllabus. Should link to the syllabus. Time expectations. What do I have in here? Oh, see this. I forgot to update this. This is for summer. I got to go in there and fix that. That means it was that way last semester too. Okay. Expectations is a 15-week class. It's a 3-credit class. So the expectation is three hours a week are spent in class. And then an additional 2 hours for each hour in class. So for a total of 9 hours toward the class. That's what the expectation is for a 3-credit class. So, you know, if it's a 4-credit class, you can expect that you'll spend a total of 12 hours on that class. Now, it's not exact, obviously. Some weeks you may spend if you're in class, 3 hours and not do any homework. Other weeks you may be spending 50 hours on the class. So that's probably more toward that final project. That will probably take you more than the usual number of hours. Let's see if there's anything else. Classroom conduct, I'm not going to go through that. So here is your link to the introductory activities, the Cengage activities. So that's where you click on to work on those assignments. This is just about me. There is an extra credit quiz as well. So you can get an easy extra 5 points there by doing it. It's just a little quiz on the syllabus and the intro and all that information. I will post this video up here. And that's about it. I don't know. You guys can tool around in the rest of Canvas. There are tutorials for Canvas with those who aren't as familiar with it. There are all sorts of tutorials about how to use it. You'll want to get familiar with the gradebook. You won't need the Lockdown browser or the Kaltura. The People one, this is to access your study group. You would go there, and that instruction is in, where are my study groups? So I give you instructions on how to access your group in there. And plus, yours probably looks different than mine. Let me view it as a student. See what you've got. Hello, test student. Hello. So this is what you got. There is a chat, which I got up there. So one person, I guess that's probably me. So if you want to send out a question to the general group, you can do that. Questions? You're all very quiet because you're sweltering and it's warm. All right. So let me go back to so does everybody have you've got a computer or a phone or something electronic, some type of electronic device? Okay. Well, let me log in. I've got a little activity here for you. All right. Can I make this bigger? There we go. Okay. There's actually several questions on this. And I'll scroll through. But the first one, so use the QR code or go to, you can also text it.